welcome everybody. You have come to watch Jane's GitGud EU tournament, round 7. It is going to be very excited. We have two stacked rosters coming up. I will be your host and your play-by-play Cloudburst, and joined with me is the absolutely awesome Spaceman. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. I'm super excited to see these two teams play off against each other. It is round 7, as you said, and we've got Breaking Amateur versus the Quebec Schnosers here. So who knows what might happen?
I was hoping you would save it for a little bit, like just
Oh
add a
no!
little bit of time before coming out with a pun, but just right out the door.
Oh,
But
you got to
talking
go
about
straight.
right out the door, I mean, we can see that these teams have been doing very well this tournament at the moment. Tell us a bit about that, Spaceman.
Yeah, so Breaking Amateur is currently undefeated. They've won all of their previous matches, 3-0 for all of them, except for in the first week, where they won 3-2 against My Waifu is My Laifu, who are now bottom of the table, unfortunately for them. Quebec Schnozzers, on the other hand, lost in the first week to Unluckers, who are now third in Group A. But they've won all of their matches since as well. So these two teams are both top of the table. However, Quebec Schnozzers have everything to play for. If they lose this,
Hmm.
Unlockers might be able to just nip to second spot here and knock them out of the playoffs.
It's a dangerous situation. Let's see if they are going to be able to kind of wind their way through this, sniff out a little bit of a route that they need to take, know exactly how to get into that second place, because of course, when you're playing round robin, you need to be in those top two.
You do. You cannot afford to lose a match here. There's so much competition for these two top spots because once you get those two top spots, you go through to the playoffs, and this whole tournament is about learning, it's about coaching, but everyone wants to win as well.
That's true. I mean, if you're going to be playing game competitively, you are there to win, and you are trying to do your best to win at the best of your capacity. But talking about this tournament being for improving, I must say I really like that initiative coming forward here. I think it's really great having players that are able to, or having the foundation that you're able to work off from that, and that just ups the skill of everyone there. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, well, it's a great format, right? Because playing in a team, playing in scrims is completely different to playing, say, solo queue. You need that coordination. You have to play your heroes slightly differently. Your timing's got to be a lot better. Your communication's got to be a lot better. And we're going to see if maybe Breaking Amateur are cooking something up this evening for us.
I really hope they do. uh, um, I hope they do because it's really great seeing a team coming into something like this and going forward undefeated. That is going to set up a great story going further into the tournament once we get out of the round robin stages. I cannot wait to see what we have. As you said, cooking up there. I can't really say it any better than that.
Yeah, and for Breaking Amateur, if they manage to win this match, there's only one more match left for them in the group stages. So if they win this, they pretty much secured their position in either first or second place. So they know they're going through if they win this. So there's all to play for them as well. So both teams really wanting to win here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we're going to talk about a team that really wants to win, Breaking Amateur, I'm pretty sure they could fall over here against the Quebec Schnosers and bring it back. Still, they have another chance. But right now, Quebec Schnoser, they are at the end of the road. This is it. It's a bit of a make or break for them at the moment, I feel. And having the roster come up here now, they look like they could be doing pretty well against Breaking Amateur. This might be where Breaking Amateur kind of breaks.
Yeah, and I mean we've got good players on both sides. Obviously, this is a learning. I think Frida was interviewing some of the people at Blizzard over BlizzCon, and I'm sure a lot of you watched that out there. And one of the points that I thought he made that was right on point was you can have like a 4.2k player, right, who's an excellent DPS, a god DPS, but
Mm.
you put them in a team format and. The SR doesn't tend to matter that much. They could be playing in a diamond level tournament, and if they're not playing with their team, they're not going to win out. So this is a completely different style of play to solo queue. So I'm really excited to see these two teams go at it.
Yet something to actually expand on that is in solo queue or duo queue, be however you like playing ranked in Overwatch. Going into a team play, I think one of the biggest things that I can talk about in this regard would be synergy. Having synergy, being knowing that the people that you're playing with right now, you've played with them for a certain amount of time beforehand, and being able to go into a game knowing that there's a certain amount of gel between the other 5 players and yourself, and you're able to make a lot smoother calls. You're able to make decisions together. It's a completely different dynamic of a game when you go into matches like this.
Exactly, and as we're going into Control Center, both teams, as you say, are going to need that synergy. We tend to see a lot of heavy comps here. We see a lot of goats, 3-3 compositions. Some people switching out the Moira for the Ana or Zen, those discords and those biotic nades to shut down fights early. So I'm expecting to see maybe some 3-3 compositions face off against each other here.
As much as I expect that, I really hope we see something else. And I think that if there was ever a place to do it, being in a place where you're here to learn, you're here to work together and such, as much as it is a difficult situation here, as we do know that it's make and break for the Quebec Schnosers, and on the side of Breaking Amateur, they want to keep their lossless record. I feel like we could see something interesting come out. I mean, we don't really know these players very well, but as you said, stock standard over on Control Center for Lijiang Tower is often goats coming into the mix.
It often is, and it looks like the Schnosers are going to be running classic goats here. They have the Moira, they've got the Brig, they've got the Lucio, and then they've got the Ryan Zarya and the D.Va as well. And taking a look at the other roster here from Breaking Amateur, they've mixed up a bit. They've got the Ana in there, and they've got a Junkrat as well, and a Sombra, so completely different rosters here.
Yeah, I like seeing this. This is a bit of a change, but I think they're expecting the goats. They want to go into this knowing what their opponents are playing. But what is this positioning coming out here, Spaceman?
Well, you're seeing Breaking Amateur just backing off onto the point here. The point has yet to unlock. So the Schnosers are just waiting until it does. Now they're going in.
Oh, look at this! Jumping right in there. Blue Slayer getting knocked down there. And we do see that Trigger Happy is going very far forward, trying to get something out of it. Golden taking a lot of damage, actually getting taken out as well for Drunken Belgian. And they're able to get the point here.
Indeed, and we saw an excellent nade there come out from managing to land on 2 or 3 players of the Schnosers. However, the rest of his team were pulling around time, and they just lost too many players to get back into that fight to really contest that. So the point did flip to the Schnosers.
Yeah, Schnosers looking pretty good. I like the strategy coming out for them, waiting for the point to unlock and just really putting pedal to the metal here. But John Dawson is looking for a good hack, and this is where they can start moving things back. There's a shatter, and that's a lot of damage on them as well, as we do see Breaking Amateur starting to move into the point. Never give up. Nano boosted with a lot of charge, doing a lot of work there, Spaceman.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to finish this fight off pretty quickly, I would suspect. That shatter from Blue Slayer was absolutely excellent. And we saw the Nano go on to Never Give Up, which allowed the grab to come back a bit. But now...
Okay, that hack, I like that hack. Defensively using hack there, coming in from John Dawson, but it's not enough, as we do see the Quebec Schnosers still coming out on top over here. Breaking Amateur coming in with the Graviton Surge, but there's not enough of a follow-up, as we do see Drunken Belgian popping that rally, getting the team going forward. There's an Earth Shatter as well, does drop 3 players down, and they pick up all 3 of them as well. This is a tough situation for Breaking Amateur here.
What an excellent comeback there from the Schnosers. I cannot believe it. I think that the thing there was target focus, right? The other team had a lot of people on point. They were targeting different heroes. If they just targeted heroes one by one, they may have been able to win that fight.
Yeah, moving into this now. Can they improve their targets over onto the Schnosers? We'll have to see, as Golden is coming out with the Riptire. Can he find what he wants? He takes out Drunken Belgian. That gives them a lot of space. Right now, Trigger Happy taking a lot of damage. Blue Slayer is nano boosted. This nano boosts are up every single fight, and we do just see Breaking Amateur just bulldozing through onto the point here.
And they do finally take this point back, but look at the percentage here. It's 99% to 1-2% here. There's only 1 fight left in this, and the Schnosers know that they just have to win 1 fight. And if you start looking at the ultimates that they have up here, Yariel has the D.Va Bomb here, and Neon is very, very nearly at that grab. So they might be able to combo this and win this fight back very quickly.
Oh, and if anyone loves a grab and self-destruct combo, it's going to be me, as we do see self-destruct thrown right out there, not actually finding anyone. This is a really dire situation now, as there is Earth Shadow landed from Breaking Amateur. Blue Slayer is going to be charging in, picking up Drunken Belgian, but Trigger Happy wants to get back into the fight, getting a very good bubble over from the side of Neon, but it's not enough, as they are going to back off. Wait a second, that's a Graviton Surge. They're not backing off anytime soon, and Blue Slayer is taking Uriel all the way back to spawn.
Blue Slayer doing such a good job on that Reinhardt. That shatter absolutely clutch there. There wasn't a lot of immediate follow-up, but what it did do was stop the Schnosers advancing into the amateurs here. So it bought his team a lot of time, and they used that time so effectively to put that grab in there.
I'm talking about Blue Slayer Shatter. He does have it back up again already for the next fight. There's going to be a lot of trouble for Quebec Schnosers to do it, but what are they going to be able to do here?
And there's no Shatter.
Oh, there it comes out right away. Oh my word, but wait a second. Golden turning things around with the Riptire and just completely ending that fight.
Yeah, Tahariel is doing such a good job on that Ana of using the nano boost, not only to secure the fights, but also to build up the ultimates between Blue Slayer and never give up. So they always have a grab, they always have a shatter, they always have something to cut down the Schnosers as they advance through this gap now.
Oh, look at that Blue Slayer. Really, really nice defense there. Trigger happy not landing that shatter. We do see sound barrier coming out. Maybe they can start moving forward here as Golden is the first one picked up. Morob doing a lot of damage to Tahariel, but we do see right away Count throwing out the sound barrier themselves. Trigger happy is deep in their backline. He's hoping to pick up some more as Drunken Bells is the first one to go down. Tahariel self-destruct, not finding anyone. John Dawson never give up are putting themselves up on the scoreboard as we do see the Graviton Surge doing a ton of work over here. And this is going to be Breaking Amateur taking the first point.
And what a great showing from both teams here, but Count's sound barrier there really keeping his team alive as they were sort of falling back to point, and Tahariel again with the healing and with the nanos allowed the grab to come up again in that last fight. As I said, there was always a Graviton ready or a Shatter, and you just need one of those ults to be able to win a team fight.
Yeah, very, very good ult rotations coming in from the sides of Breaking Amateur. I can see now, just from that first point, exactly why they are undefeated in this tournament so far.
Yeah, because all of these players are of roughly equal skill level, right? So it's not mechanical skill that is going to win out these fights. It is going to be ultimate economy. It is going to be about the shot calling, knowing when to use those ults. And it's also about ult rotation. So you want to be able to use as few ults as possible to win a team fight. And that's what Breaking Amateur have been doing so well so far. But
I like this. Teams kind of matching team composition changes here. I like seeing the pharmacies on both sides. Let's see which one can come out on top.
The pharmacies here, they're going to be shooting a few each other, but the Pharah that concentrates on the ground the most is going to get the most value. They're going to be able to charge their ults up quicker. They're going to be able to pick off a few people. But saying that, Golden picks Drunken Belgian out of the air there.
Oh, I absolutely love that air combat. Seeing Golden being able to do that, it gives them a lovely entrance into this fight here. But right now, Quebec Schnosers is turning it around completely.
Yeah, they've gone on to point here, and the point's now going to be a bit of a brawl.
Yeah, a bit of a brawl over here. Trigger happy over on the Winston. Quite a nice change coming in from Blue Slayer, who's on the Reinhardt right now. He's just swinging his hammer as much as possible, but it's not enough in the situation. Quebec Schnosers are going to be the first one to unlock the point.
And Drunken Belgian was, he managed to get back to point there, and as I said before, he just focused on the ground targets there, getting kills. Okay, he's only 43% to his ultimate because he did spend a long time dead, and Golden's probably going to get that ultimate before him, but he really finished off the fight there.
I do want to see John Dawson now switching over to the McCree. Hopefully he's going to be able to take Drunken Belgian out before he gets the ultimate there, and John Dawson right away has him in his sights. Oh, and Golden once again in the skies picking him up. Muchin looking very low, able to get out of there as Neon popping the Dragon Blade, trying to find some value out of it. Gets to Tahariel, but I think that might just be enough. That's all he needed.
Indeed. And again, Golden very, very accurate with his shots, managing to pick Drunk Belgian out the sky. But it doesn't matter if you do that. If Drunk Belgian is pumping all the damage into the ground war and the rest of the team is winning on that ground war, you can beat Pharah all day long and you're not going to win the fight for your team.
Absolutely true. It is extremely important to make sure that you know what value you're getting out of the picks. But talking about value out of picks, Blue Slayer is going to be charging and he gets down the hammer and only one falls. But there's a self-destruct. Also just pushing away that mech, which is also coming out self-destruct, not finding anyone either. Is this just whiff self-destructs.exe? Tahariel having a little bit of trouble here with Neon, but actually takes him out here. And now this is really where we need to see Breaking Amateur move into the point. High Noon coming out, not finding anyone as well, but Golden using the rocket barrage getting taken out from the side of Yariel, as we do see Drunk Belgian actually throwing out his rocket barrage, getting way more value.
Way more value there. He was waiting. He knew that his opposite number, Golden, had the barrage. He was waiting to pick him out the sky and then use his barrage uncontested. And he's been doing such a good job on this Pharah in the second map. He's, I wouldn't say carrying the team, but he's adding a lot of value to it.
Looking over here, we do see Valkyrie coming out from the side of Count. They need to start moving in. It is an overtime, and Quebec Schnosers are looking extremely good right now. Golden trying to find something out of this. Very close to taking out Mosine. Does manage to find the Mercy, and that's really important. Count coming in to try and get the res, not able to do it. Oh my word, and the Dragon Blade just to end it all.
Indeed. I mean, it's 99% to 0 here. I can't getting back into this point here, but that does mean we are going to be going to the third map. And, how exciting, right? I love it when maps like this go 1-1 and you don't get absolute domination from one team. I couldn't really call it here.
Yeah, I must say, I wasn't actually sure coming into that. I expected from what we saw from a 1% to 99% to 199 in Control Center coming in from the side of Breaking Amateur. They looked very, very shaky when it came to Night Market against the Quebec Schnosers. I think they really upped their game. Their target priority was a lot better. What are they going to be able to do on Gardens? Because Breaking Amateur, after coming up against that, I need to see some changes here.
Yeah, well, again, this is such a good point for Pharah, and we might see this Pharah battle again. But as I say, that Golden switches off onto Genji. I think he knows that he's getting the last map that perhaps he should have been. He switched onto that Genji. He's going to get into the back line of the Schnosers. So Mosine on that Mercy is going to be having to watch out for the Genji.
It is very dangerous. Hopefully Golden is able to Genji as well as Neon does, because Neon has really been showing up here. And look at the amount of damage on Blue Slayer getting the product grenade from Tahariel, but I don't know if that's enough in this situation. Point unlocking in 3, 2, 1. There it goes. Let's see who's going to be able to get it first, as we do see Breaking Amateur backing off a bit here, but might just be a bit of a tactical retreat, as we do see Blue Slayer concussed into the fight, which has actually propelled them to the victory of this fight as well.
A very, very good victory for them as well. Drunk Belgian managing to get a lot of damage in as that again, so he's already got his ult up here. But we do have John Dawson now on that Widow, putting a lot of pressure on him. So he couldn't just get into the sight lines that he wanted to be able to secure the kills here. But we'll see what he does with that ultimate.
I think that Infrasight coming up on John Dawson now is going to be quite important, being able to know exactly what entrance that Quebec Schnosers are going to be wanting to go with. But Neon also swapping over to the Widow and picks up John Dawson. This is exactly what they need to start winning this fight. Tahariel is in Neon's sights, and there we go. He picks up Golden with a fantastic headshot, although Earth Shadow from Blue Slayer does knock him down alongside their Mercy player. Gets knocked off by Tahariel, and she falls down 2 to count. That is what a lovely trade.
What a lovely trade indeed. And Neon on that Widowmaker doing so much work. That's exactly what you need to do as Widow. Look at Neon, already Infrasights, already he's at 60% here. A few more shots, he's going to be able to get that. And the ultimates now are all in favour of the Schnosers, and they have point control. I'd like to see perhaps a dry push here coming out from Breaking Amateur, because they don't really have a lot of ults coming up. They're going to have the support ult. They might be able to get grabbed next fight, but if they can get the ultimates out of the Schnosers and then re-engage quickly, they should be able to take the fight after that.
Oh, I don't think this is going to be a dry push, as you do hear Infrasight come out from John Dawson. There's going to be some work that needs to be done here. John Dawson's having trouble finding the angles, as we do see the rest of the team move forward onto the point now. Oh my word, Rocket Barrage from Drunk Balls right away. Does get slept. Is there a follow-up? Oh, there's no follow-up. Drunk Bulge is still alive, still able to take out Blue Slayer and continue winning these fights. Quebec Schnauzers are looking so good right now, Spaceman.
Yeah, that was an excellent sleep dart. Unfortunately, Drunk Belgian had already got a 2k there, and he pushed forward and got the 2k in the... but excellent control there from the rest of the Schnozzers. They didn't invest any other ults. So look at this, they've got 5 ults on board. It just took 1 ult to win that fight. And you start looking at Breaking Amateur here. They're going to have the Graviton, they've got the Sound Barrier, and they're going to have the Blade coming up. So they might be able to do something with that. But again, there's 2 support ults on the side of the Schnozzers that might be able to just cancel out some of those ults.
I can definitely see that happen. They need to take out Mosine as soon as possible. That Valkyrie is going to give them a lot of trouble, but here's a self-destruct coming in. Oh my word, they managed to survive that. What a lovely concussive blast from the side of Drunk Belgian, though.
Great concussive blast there. Neon managing to pick off John Dawson. Widow tool.
Oh, never give up, turning things around, just just namesake really coming in here. Golden also popping the Dragon Blade, but not able to pick up Marcin. Right now it's all up to Tahariel, who manages to do it as they win that fight in overtime.
Indeed, and it's nearly 40% now for Breaking Amateur here. However, they can't really think about ult economy now. They've got to win every single fight from now on. Whereas the Schnosers, they know they can dry push if they want. They can invest a couple of ults. They're going to have 3, maybe 4 pushes here if they can get into the action quickly enough. And so we'll see what they do with their ultimates.
Yeah, I like what we're seeing from Hariel, taking a very interesting position, making them move back to Hariel is in a bit of trouble now. Trigger Happy does dive in. Can they pick up Golden before it's too late? As we do see another leap right onto the point here. Drunk Belgian still being uncontested in the air there, as we do see Nano Boost being put over onto Trigger Happy. He's looking for some more... Oh, sorry, Blue Slayer, as Trigger Happy is actually using Primal Rage. He's looking to get some more value. He picks up Golden alongside Yariel, and this could be the end of the fight for them.
I think it is the end of the fight for them, unfortunately. John Dowson just maybe going to touch at the last minute, but he'll be finished off quite quickly. And he just couldn't find the angles on Drunk Belgian. Drunk Belgian doing a very good job at just staying inside of that point, not actually peeking, not allowing the enemy Widowmaker to pick him out the air. So the other team had to get onto point and engage into a Pharah that's very hard to hit when they're flying around point, especially when they're being healed by the Mercy as well.
I have to agree with you there completely. And having to deal with a Pharah, especially after these buffs where direct rockets do a lot more damage, it gets increasingly difficult to be able... You can't leave the Pharah there uncontested. They had to find something to do with it, and they weren't able to do that. So moving over to the next maps, I wonder what they're going to be able to do with it. I mean, we're going from Control to Escort now, from Lijiang Tower. They have a choice of Dorado, Junkertown, and I don't know, both of these maps are actually pretty decent Pharah maps. So, but there are better angles.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So look at Junkertown first point, for instance. Yeah, you can run a Pharah, but if you run a Widow, she's going to be able to see that Pharah most of the time. There's not a lot of cover to hide behind, right? So Drunk Belgian might not get the amount of value he was getting for his team there. I really do think the lack of dealing with Drunk Belgian on that Pharah is what won that for the Quebec Schnosers in the end. So if I'm Breaking Amateur here, I'm thinking, okay, what maps can I either give my Widow and my hit scan better sightlines? I want to choose some of those maps, or what maps just aren't good for Pharah? You know, you see a little bit of play on King's Row, Pharah first point maybe, but maybe they'll go that. Maybe they'll go 3-3 and just play the ground war.
But I do see here they are selecting to go for Junkertown. I think this is exactly what we're talking about. It looks like they've just sniffed out exactly what's going on with the side of Quebec Schnauzers, and now Breaking Amateur being able to utilize those sightlines and the distance and the positioning that you can get on Junkertown. They're not going to allow for that to be their downfall. They are aware of what's going on here. I think this is where they start bringing things back together.
Yeah, for those of you just joining us, obviously the losing team does get to pick which map comes next, but the winning team then gets to decide whether they want to attack or defend first. So it looks like the teams are going to be swapping colours. We are going to have the Schnozzers in blue and Breaking Amateur in red.
And now, I think this is a bit of an advantage for Breaking Amateur, as their main tank on the side of Blue Slayer is going to have a bit of an advantage against the blue team here. I think that's very important here.
Yeah, Reinhardt play, especially in the second and third points of Junkertown, is so important. You want to be able to create space, but if you can get those shatters off around those corners, especially on the second point there, you can just win team fights outright. First point's a little bit different, but first point is very attacker favored. So a lot of teams just try and win some time there. They try and delay the attack because if you manage to full hold on first point, you've done a very good job.
I have to agree with you that it's not easy to do at all on Junkertown, but it does often feel like Junkertown, the whole map pretty much is surrounded around the third point I see. First and second is kind of just trying each other out. It's just a prolonged poke transition phase that you need to get through. And once you get to that third point, that's where the fights really kick off and strategy starts coming into play a lot more than what it was before. I say from my side, just from what I've seen from attackers on Junkertown.
Yeah, and it depends what strategy they want to run as well. You see a lot of pirate ship right on Junkertown from the attackers. sit the Bastion on the payload, give him some shielding, give him a Mercy to give him the damage boost, and you just plow your way through that first point. It gets a bit more difficult on second and third points to do that, especially if the other
Yeah.
team's well coordinated and they make the required hero switches. So if we do see pirate ship from either teams here, I'm going to be looking at the defenders and seeing what they do to counter that, right? Because Bastion can be quite swishy. If you manage to go in with a Diva defense matrix and you've maybe got a Junk who can charge up his tire and get that in there, as soon as you win back that payload,
Mm.
the guy's got to switch off Bastion, right?
Yeah, team composition crumbles, and they have to really change the way as a team that they're going to be entering the fight, which I think is extremely into a tournament where the goal is to learn. I think it's very important for them in this regard that when their team composition does fall, they need to bring it back together. And I think that's going to be quite an important dynamic to look at in Junkertown coming up.
Yeah, I mean, their coaches are going to be looking at this series of games in after the match, because in the match you listen to your shot caller, you make the changes that I mean, these guys should have talked about, okay, if we run into pirate ship, this is what we do. And if they haven't done that, that's something they're going to need to address after the match. But we're going to get into it. We're going to see what compositions they run, and I'm excited to see this because it's been a pretty close game so far.
I must say, it has. I mean, Lijiang Tower, it was 2-1, and at first seeing Control Center go down, well, Quebec Schnauzers go down on Control Center, the first portion of Lijiang Tower, and then right away come back against Breaking Amateur, ending it on a 2-1. I mean, that is as close as you're going to get. Moving over to Junkertown on Breaking Amateur.
It is indeed, and I think they made the right choice here because we can see a little bit of Farah play on first point. Sometimes you see it second and third point, but not very often. And this allows Hitscan to have so many sight lines on this first point. So I don't think we're going to see much Farah play here. I think we might see some pirate ship though. I do at this level. I think.
I can definitely expect pirate ship there. I have to concur. But moving in with the pirate ship is so powerful on this first point, just going through these initial chokes. Let's see what is on the defense lineup right now on the side of Quebec Schnauzers, Spaceman.
Well, they're going to be running triple tank here. They've got the Reinhardt, they've got the Hog, and they've got the Diva. Usually you would see perhaps an Orisa instead of a Reinhardt here, especially with the position they're taking here on just round this corner, because you could combo that with the hooks. You can use your Halt to suck people in and then use those hooks and pull them into your team and finish them off. But they've got quite a strong support lineup here. They've got Mercy and they've got Lucio as well, so they can be quite fast. But we do have the pirate ship here coming out from Breaking Amateur.
Ooh, and I like their options of the way that they're going to be setting up here. Golden choosing a nice position over on the payload, and very, very defensive play on the side of Breaking Amateur here.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what they need to do. They don't want to give that Bastion any sight lines until the very last minute. They're able to fight under this little bridge here. This is a very, very good defensive position.
And looking at what John Dawson is going to be able to do for Breaking Amateurs over on the Widowmaker, finding the right sight line, as we do see right away moving in onto the point, but not able to do as much as they need to. Quebec Schnauzers Trigger Happy falling down, does get rezzed right back up, trying to find the head of Blue Slayer, and having a lot of trouble doing that as Never Give Up picks up Mercine. This might cause for them to crumble. John Dawson very far in the back there on his own. Needs to find a way to get back into this fight. As Breaking Amateur right now are actually backing off. Quebec Schnauzers came out ahead of this one.
They did indeed, and this is an excellent place for a payload to stop. However, look at the spawn advantage here that Breaking Amateur have. They're already back on point, and they've already set up. That you cannot allow a Bastion to get set up like that.
Oh, wow, Golden just on death's door, and the nano boost keeps him alive. Afro King going to be struggling alongside Mosine. They need to be very careful. And self-destruct finds Afro King. This is really the end of the first point for the side of Quebec Schnauzer.
Yeah, that was a very, very clutch nano. They're keeping Golden alive, allowing him to pump in some more damage here. I think they should have set up perhaps on the payload here. You cannot allow that Bastion to get set up in a position. And they have all the cover of those two buildings here, but they are going in for a final contestant.
Ooh, they really are, but we do see configuration tank come up. Uriel taken out of the mech, but self-destruct does come out right at the end. Trigger happy. Mosine and Afro-King still over here. Never give up, as his namesake not giving up on this point right now. John Dawson and Tahariel quite far away from the point, just making sure they can give covering fire, but they're struggling quite a bit. No picks being taken just yet. John Dawson needs to pick up his game as he does it. Afro-King falls down, and we do see Neon moving in on the Tracer, switching off of that off tank over there. Uriel coming right back in, but getting shredded down from the side of Golden, who has set up once again on the Bastion, but Dragon Strike getting him. No, he doesn't fall. This is such a big trouble over for the side of the Quebec Schnauzers, as Afro-King is the last one on the point, and that's just a bit of stalling.
It was indeed, and it was a nice last effort there, but you've got to deal with the Bastion. You've got to deal with the Bastion first, and then try and kill the Mercy when she comes in for the res. Unfortunately, they were sort of targeting everyone left, right, and centre. Golden wasn't really focused down there, and he was just allowed to hold left click, plough the damage in, and the rest of his team were able to finish off a lot of the Schnauzers there. But they're going to be able to set up on the second point and go in for a bit of a dive, and Trigger Happy doing so well with the charges actually to pin Golden off the point. But oh my gosh,
King and John Dawson trade. Oh no. That's not something you see too often.
It's not indeed. You prefer your Widow to go down than here it comes.
Yeah, you can see them moving in. Supercharger just keeping Quebec Schnauzers completely off of this point, as they are moving through to actually pick up the second point here. Trigger Happy not landing that Earth Shatter, but doesn't really matter. Yes, it does, because Golden sets up once again on the complete opposite side of the battlefield. Afro-King is going to be moving on him, but Golden is just going to shred that HP down. You do see Drunk Belgian has swapped over to the Junkrat, but I don't think it's enough here.
No, well, Neon was doing such a good job at getting a lot of picks here, right? However, Drunk Belgian, Golden on the Bastion there managed to get off the payload, relocate, and the Schnauzers had no idea where he was, and that's exactly what you need to do as a Bastion.
Yeah, but somehow actually winning that fight. Schnauzers now coming out. Drunk Belgian does have a tire. Is he going to find anyone? He does! He takes a Tariel as well as John Dawson. This is going to completely stop their assault.
And this is fantastic as well. They've managed to hold it here on second point, and we've seen Golden now switch off onto the Genji. A very, very good switch here. If you can't get back onto that point as Bastion, you're not going to be too much used to your team. So he's gone for something a little bit more divey. He's going to be able to get into the back lines of the Schnauzers, picking off Afro-King and Musine. They're going to be his major targets here, and especially Neon as well. If he can get onto Neon and stop Neon getting those picks, getting those early picks in those fights, that's all the value he needs to add. He might not even need to get the kills, so long as he can just keep pressure on.
But Neon swapping over to the Widowmaker, talking about pressure. That is the name of the game for Neon right now. If he can pressure them to stick together, this is where we can see Drunk Belgian really shine. Self-destruct is going to be coming in, but Trigger Happy stopping that. Although Uriel does fall out of the mech, not having that defense matrix is extremely important here. Golden getting thrown all over the map, but getting healed up right away, as we do see a dive from Blue Slayer. Moving on to Drunken Belgian, we do see Sound Barrier come out as well from Afro-King. Hopefully he can bring things back. Oh wow, Golden doing a lot of work here. Drunk Belgian does pick him up, but it's not quite enough over here, as we can see them start moving forward right now. Breaking Amateur, hopefully going to be able to get to this point. Self-destruct not finding anyone from the side of Quebec Schnauzers. And Breaking Amateur really looking good here, Spaceman.
They are indeed, and it was an excellent swap to the dive composition they've got now with the Winston, with the D.Va, because they're able to get into the back line of the Schnauzers here, and that's exactly what they need to do. If they can shut down the Mercy, if they can shut down the Lucio, if they can shut down... Neon has had to switch off that Widow now. She's getting dived so much, so he was getting no value. He's now gone to McCree. He's going to be able to stay with his team a little bit more and use those stuns as the dive comes in. But I'm thinking maybe a switch to Brigitte might be in order.
Brigitte could work very well here as we do move to the real part of the map. This is where the end game is decided, as we do see Blue Slayer just diving in there, not actually getting much out of it. Trigger Happy is anti-nated, but is still alive, managing to survive that by the skin of his teeth, as Uriel does get demeched.
Trigger Happy there with that shatter. He gets 4 or 5 of them, and yes, he very, very nearly goes down. But again, it just buys his team time to finish up the rest of the Schnauzers there. And look at this. This is not where you want to be stuck when you're attacking on this point.
Definitely not, but Neon going down as well as a Dragon Blade with the Nano Golden looking for their tank line. Picks up Trigger Happy after finding Afro King and clears it out, picking up Uriel, Mech, and out of the Mech as well.
I mean, Golden Boy, look out for your job here, because we've got a new Golden Boy right here. Played so clutch, right? Managing to get those kills, and moving forward now, they're going to be trying to take some high ground with this dive composition. Whilst they're moving the payload up as well, they're going to need to win one more team fight here. There's only 45 seconds left on the clock as well, and the spawns are not going to be in their advantage here.
Not at all. Let's see if they can keep together. This dive composition is working so well for them. Trigger Happy is so low. Count is the first one to fall down, as we do see Quebec Schnosers are actually bringing things back here. Such a little amount of time left on the clock, but they have to back off anyways.
They are having to back off, but look at the ult differential here, right? So it looks pretty even on paper, but Drunk Belgian has that tire. He can shut down the next team fight if he manages to connect with that. And we've got the High Noon as well, which very good for zoning and very good at getting a few kills. And they've got one of the support ults, and they're going to have two for the next fight as well. So this is it.
Oh, but self-destruct over onto the point. That is a tough one as Trigger Happy does fall down. Not having your main tank can be very dangerous, but Mosine comes in with the Valkyrie and the Res. Drunk Belgian picks up Count underneath of the sound barrier that their team was given. Yariel also throwing out the self-destruct, trying to find some spacing to Hariel, does fall down. And now this is getting very, very troublesome for Breaking Amateur. But Golden, once again, turning it around. He is their all-star player. He's bringing it back. Can he pick up Afro King as he also deflects Neon's Deadeye? Not long to get that value, but Afro King really just completely shredding through their team on the Lucio here. Overtime fights the way that you want them to be, as Never Give Up is trying his very best alongside Count. We do see Golden could have another entry into this fight, but they are going to be struggling quite a bit here. Not really many players going down over on the side of Breaking Amateur, but we do see Primal Rage coming out from Quebec Schnosers. They're trying to find something out. There's no self-destruct from Never Give Up. Do they find anything? They do. Afro King goes down, and they were struggling with him so much. Only 3 players on the point for such a long time, and they weren't able to capitalize on that at all. Sound barrier comes out, and they're going to be pushing this payload a little bit further forward. This is so dangerous for Quebec Schnosers right now.
I can't believe it. Some don't even know if they're going to be able to get back to it. They might just be able to touch. It depends in which order they do. They've got the sound barriers. That's a little longer fight here.
Oh my god, and the EMP! Removing the sub barrier completely. Trigger Happy comes in using the power drive, but we do see Dragon Strike from Golden right away. He wants to completely take him down. Yahariel is back in the fight alongside Neon. Back onto the Tracer. They're trying to find some work here, and John Belson does go down, who is currently on the Sombra. Self-destruct picks up 2, keeps him off of the point, and they do not complete the map.
That was a clutch self-destructive I ever saw. But that fight was going on for far too long there. I think the Schnosers should have won that probably about a minute or 2 minutes ago, right? It was just a lack of target focus. There was a few people on the point, and Lucio can be very, very hard to hit. But I thought that some of the ult usage there was very, very good as well. So the tire that came out, he waited for Mercy to use her res. So he knew he just had to pick off one of the supports. Managed to get the Lucio, but the team fight just went on for so long there.
Oh, it really, really did. I mean, I was running out of breath there. Give me a break, guys.
Oh man,
very exciting though.
It was great, and that's what I love to see play as well. You look at the top level of play, team fights are over usually fairly swiftly, right? And sometimes with 3-3, goats come. It's not that quick, but usually they're fairly quick because of the target focus, the communication, the shot calling, and both these teams are here to learn about all of that. So when they go back and they can look at this VOD and they can see what's happening, are they going to be able to go, oh, maybe I was shooting at the wrong target, maybe instead of trying to finish off this person, I should have tried to target focus on this other person that my team was focusing on. Because if you can just focus on one person at a time, you can stop the staggers like that pretty quickly. But if you don't focus and a support manages to get back, especially a Lucio that, after that 12 seconds, he can press E again and give his team a lot more healing there. He can really give his team some sustain.
That's very true, but now looking over as we do have Breaking Amateur back in the defense, John Dawson taking a very interesting position here. Absolutely love it, but can he find the targets? Back north.
Schnosers here using that double sniper composition with the Hanzo and the Widowmaker. They're looking to get some picks, some early picks as well. And Neon just scouting out around the sides there. And it looks as though Breaking Amateur just backing off, giving them a bit of room. And John Dowson getting the pick on.
So this is where the fight's going to be, starting off with that pick over onto Neon. Although there is a res, I'm very interested in seeing that Breaking Amateur are not contesting this, or they are only contesting it now once it gets over to the second choke. And there's just trades on both sides. Uriel has a lot of charge, going to be moving forward alongside Trigger Happy, and John Dawson needs to get out of there. Not the best position to be in, unless he can do something crazy as Neon finding a 2K. Looking very good.
Yeah, and we've got Trigger Happy. He's on the point here. I'd like to see him a little bit further pressuring. Not now, but a few seconds ago when there were still team members there. Because Reinhardt's job really is, you don't want to be the one on point. You want to be creating space for your team, and you can't do that when you're stuck on point.
That's extremely true. Very interesting to see them come here. I mean, what we're getting from Quebec Schnosers right now is that they don't even need Pirate Ship to push this all the way to the end, as we do see Blue Slayer coming in with the nano. Oh my word, Trigger Happy just shatters him, just ends his days, as he's going to be picking up the side of John Dawson. Drunk Belgium picking up the 2K over there. Blue Slayer still alive. Tahariel, very nice positioning here. And lands an Earth Shadow onto Mosi, but still the res comes out onto Trigger Happy. Oh my word, they're struggling so much in the situation right now.
And that tire could have been clutch right there. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but there's just picks on both sides here, right? And all of these fights, they start off pretty well, and then they sort of descend into this little bit of a brawl, and people are fighting their own little battles everywhere. I think from both sides, we just need to see a little bit more communication, a little bit more target focus there. And yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened with that tire, but it didn't matter in the end. They still managed to secure the point here, and we will be going into another team fight here with 1 minute 50 on the clock.
It's interesting to see this. I really thought that Quebec Schnosers had it there, but Blue Slayer just not able to take him down was so detrimental. But let's see if they can do it in this fight that's breaking off now. Trigger Happy charging in. There is a counter charge. Sound Barrier comes up on the side of Quebec Schnosers, but look at that Dragon Strike over on top of their own self-destruct as they do pick up Afro King, and now there's more follow-ups as some more of their players goes down. Blue Slayer really ending their approach completely.
I mean, that was such a nice combo there, right? We saw the Grav come out, and then we saw Mosin manage to get the Bionade into that Grav, so they couldn't be healed up by that Transcendence. However, most of the Dragon had already gone through, so a lot of the team were still alive after that Grav, unfortunately for them. And look at the ults now. We've got Trigger Happy with this Shatter. He's going to be able to maybe do something with that, especially if he can catch them off guard. It looks like he's looking for it right now.
I really hope they do, but we do see Drunk Bulge switching over to the Pharaoh. Oh my word, that is no lock. 2 of them down. Drunk Bulge in the air is going to be trying to clear them out as well. We do hear the tire from Golden, though. It's going to... Oh my word, it gets taken out by Afro King. Also picks up Golden as well. Here's the res onto Trigger Happy. Their approach is still safe. They're going to be able to take this, but 30 seconds? This is dangerous.
It was dangerous indeed, but you saw Trigger Happy with that Shatter. Flanked all the way round to the left. He had a great sight line onto Tahariel and the other supports there, and Count as well, and he managed to get that Shatter on. You've got to be looking out for things like that if you're the main tank of, or if you're Blue Slayer. You've got to back up, you've got to keep that shield up, and you've got to try and bait out that Shatter, or at least be aware of it, because that pretty much single-handedly won the team fight there.
Ooh, but talking about single-handedly winning team fights, Golden falling down at the start of the fight gives a lot of space open for Quebec Schnosers to move in here. Interesting seeing what Drunk Belgian is doing here. Hopefully he can get some more picks.
Hopefully he can. He's back on that Pharaoh that we saw so well with. And there's not really too much to counter him. Obviously you've got Golden on the hands, so if he can get a good shot, that's fine. But John Dawson there!
Oh, wow. Very accurate on the Sombra. Let's see if he can do the same work in their backline. Right now as Neon is also getting extremely cheeky on the Hanzo, taking very interesting positions, but Blue Slayer is just going to run in and swing that hammer. EMP does come out. Oh my god, Drunk Belgian is completely taken out of the sky. Are they going to be able to capitalize on this one? It looks like that they're going to have to pull out their self-destruct. Not too sure about that one, but can they end up winning this fight off of it, as we do see Drunk Belgian goes down, and that is going to be the end of the fight.
It was. They invested 2 ults there. I don't think the self-destruct was perhaps necessary there, but look at the ults they've got online. They're going to have the Transcendence, they're going to have the Shatter, and they're going to have that Nano as well, and perhaps they're going to use it now. The Shatter's come out!
Oh my... That Shatter just off the corner of the shield! of Trigger Happy. Oh, that has to be such a big feel bad.
Yeah, and that shatter comboed with the Dragon Strike there was absolutely fantastic. Finished off that team fight. I don't think Nano was necessary there. At least I couldn't really get any value out of it. But Tahoriel, 30% on the way to the next ult, and they're gonna have the EMP up shortly as well. That's at 60% already.
Breaking Amateur looking like they are the team to win right now, but what we've seen from Quebec Schnosers, as soon as they're on the back foot, it's where they really come out on top. We do see Self-Destruct going to be coming in, picks up 2 of them! This is the entrance they need off the back of Drop Bulgin, picking up John Dawson. This is where they can start pulling things back together, as Count is the last one to fall. Never give up on the point, demeched, hopefully staggered.
And what a Diva bomb there
Oh
coming
my
in
word.
from Yariel. It was absolutely right. You send it in. The other team weren't ready. You just need to get 1 or 2 kills with that, and that allows you the rest of your team to engage in a 6v5 or a 6v4.
Interesting stagger there from John Dawson. Oh my word, knocking back Blue Slayer so he can't land the charge onto the point. Tragic, but talking about tragic, Trigger Happy lands an Earth Shatter, and there we go. Self-Destruct is going to be thrown out, but Afriking wall riding like a pro and making sure that he doesn't get taken out by it.
Yeah, Trigger Happy there. I don't know whether his name might be ironic there, because he certainly hasn't been Trigger Happy with his ults. He's been very patient. He's used them at exactly the right time, and he's adding a lot of value to his team on this right heart. Every single shatter has been fantastic so far. And I think Blue Slayer needs to maybe step up a little bit and just try and watch out for those shatters, because that's what's winning the team fights there.
Yeah, at first I thought that Blue Slayer was the one that we've seen the great shadows from it, but Trigger Happy is starting to stage him up here, and we'll have to see what can be done. But I think part of that is that Blue Slayer needs to be so aware of Drunk Belgian in the sky.
Indeed. Oh, we got a Dragon coming on, just cutting the teams apart here, and it looks like the next fight's going to be happening right now, right here.
Yep, Golden throws out his dragon as well, a little bit more accurate, but still doesn't quite hit the mark. Never Give Up is very low, but gets healed up in no time from Tahariel. We do see a Discord over on the side of Drunk Belgian as he gets taken out by Never Give Up. There is a nano boost of Reinhardt in the backline. Take out Blue Slayer, please! And they manage to do it after he picks up Neon. They're struggling quite a bit here. We do see that they are starting to move their point forward towards the lovely golden rectangle that went to the point. Never Give Up. Getting a lot of space out of that self-destruct, but Trigger Happy isn't going anywhere. Anti-nated, but it's not quite enough. Count trying to defend it, but John Dawson is going to have to contest the point here over on the Widowmaker alongside Golden, but oh my word, the Rocket Barrage is trying to do some work there, but the sleep completely nullifies that one. Dragon Strike as well. Blue Slayer looking extremely low, and they managed to bring it back together. Quebec Schnosers take the second point, and now they are currently 2-0 versus Breaking Amateur.
And I mean, that was fantastic there from the Schnozzers. Excellent team play there. And I think as well, we haven't talked about the teams using Mercy so much here. A lot of play these days, you don't see a lot of Mercy, right? You see a lot of Anna, maybe some Moira, and you see sort of Brig Lucia, right? But Mercy is so powerful at this level because we do get the team fights that go on for a lot longer. So if the team fight goes on for a minute, that's 2 reses, right? That's 2 people that are still in the team fight. And we saw a lot of good reses from Mercy during that last period there that really helped the Schnozzers win out on that point.
Yeah, just looking at what Quebec Schnosers can do as soon as they're on the back foot. I said it during the match, and it's starting to become more and more apparent. It seems like whilst they're playing through the map, they're just playing it out. They know that they're a team, they're playing it out together. Whatever happens, happens. But as soon as they get to a situation where they're like, we're about to lose this, it's as if a fire lights up in their eyes, or should I say, a fire lights up in their noses. In this case,
Well,
they're just.
I think the fire lights up in the sky, right? Because they were having some problems pushing that payload through second point. And then Drunk Belgian got just straight back on that Farah. And Breaking Amateur just weren't expecting it. And put them on the back foot for that second point. And then Quebec Schnoozers were able to capitalize on that and use that momentum to get the most of the way around of that third point. And then they won out at the end there as well, using the Mercy reses, using, I mean, the barrage from Drunken Belgian, it managed to pick off the Widow. Didn't really get much else value. It was slept almost immediately there. But if the Anna's looking out to try and sleep an ulting Farah, she's not healing her team. So I think that helped out just for the sustain front of that battle.
Yeah. I must say, just looking at what their roster is doing right now, we're seeing fantastic self-destructs from Yariel, always turning the tides of battle. Neon being able to flex between the Zarya and the Tracer exactly when they need it. Drunk Belgian in the sky. Africa being unstoppable on that Lucio. They're struggling so much. Mosine being able to get in the positions to get those reses and trigger Happy's Earth Shadows. I think this team is really coming together now, and we see it a bit more each round they play.
We do indeed, and this is fairly interesting now from a table perspective of Group A, because Quebec Schnosers are 2-0 ahead, right? They could win out on this next map, which would put them equal with Breaking Amateur at the top. Maybe there'll be a points differential here; they'll just creep on top here. But that means that they've got a very, very good chance of getting to the playoffs here, and then it's all on Unluckers really to try and maybe knock someone out of second spot.
I mean, I'd be interested to see what Unluckers is doing at the moment, how they are currently positioned, because I expected for this to be a lot more favored to Breaking Amateur. And I don't want to take anything away from them right now, but Quebec Schnosers are being up 2-0 at this point right now, and now moving over to a very strategy-heavy map like Hanamura. Breaking Amateur must be shaking a little bit in this situation.
Maybe so. However, the games have both been very, very close. I think there were team fights and situations where either team could have won out, and Quebec Schnoes are perhaps just switching up their compositions a little earlier than Breaking Amateur, which is just giving them that edge. But now Breaking Amateur are going to be able to pick the map again. They've picked Hanamura. They're going to have picked it for a reason. They're going to have some strategies lined up for this. They're going to have practiced it. They're going to be comfortable with it. And they might be able to win out here. And who knows? We might see a reverse sweep this evening.
If there's anything I love more than reverse sweeps, please tell me, because I hope it happens. I want to see Breaking Amateur come back and take this 3-2 and kind of run back on what we saw, what we didn't quite see. But against my waifu is my laifu, I'm pretty sure the score was also 3-2. I'm not sure if that was a reverse sweep, but maybe that's what it needs to be. Their last matches, both 3-2s, and the rest of them very favored towards them.
Oh, I wouldn't count them out of it at all whatsoever. I mean, Golden did such a good job on that Genji as well. I'd like to see him play Genji a bit more. On Hanamura, that's exactly the map where he can run a Genji. There's especially on attack on that first point, he can get through the window, get behind the enemy team, and if you can win that first point on a 2CP map and snowball from there, you can finish both points with 5-6 minutes on the clock.
And if we do see something like that, this is definitely the run back territory. This is exactly where we can see reverse sweeps happen, especially if they're able to get that time deficits. It's going to be very exciting seeing what they come out of the gates with in team composition, because we've seen a bit of dive, we've seen a bit of goats, we've seen a bit of double sniper, and we've seen an interesting triple tank as well with the Hog Diva Ryan. I'm very interested to see what we see over on the defense and the attack of Hanamura now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different setups you can go with here on the defense, and there's some very good heroes to play with support wise as well. You can have a Zenyatta and an Ana just by the rocks by first point, able to pump a lot of healing, a lot of damage into that main choke point, which would usually entice the attackers to go dive. It's going to be interesting to see what compositions they run out with here. And let's have a quick look here. We've got Quebec Schnosers here, and they're going to be running a Mei here. Neon is going to be on the Mei, so those walls are going to be so important.
Yeah, Mei on the walls over on the first point on Hanamura. I'm pretty sure some teams have nightmares of that, having a main tank trapped out there, getting frozen whilst the rest of your team is stuck behind the wall. It's never pleasant, but oh my word, it is such a powerful strategy on defense.
It is, and there's a couple of ways to deal with it. Either you go through very quickly and hope that maybe 4 of you get walled off and are able to sustain themselves until the wall goes down, or you just try and bait it out and then go as soon as the wall's gone, right?
Ooh, but let's see, very interesting movements over here. John Dawson scouting them out right now, trying to see exactly what's happening, but yeah, he does see Neon on the Mei there.
They're gonna know. They're gonna know exactly what they're doing on the defense here. So Breaking Amateur here doing quite a good job. Switching up their composition maybe a little bit. They're still in spawn here, so let's see what they do. They are now out of the gates. Okay, so we've got Golden here on the Symmetra. They're gonna go for a TP strategy here. I haven't seen this for a while.
Oh, this is going to be very interesting. Let's see exactly where they want to go. Oh, they're going for the top there. Oh my word! Oh, this is super exciting! They're just going directly onto Trigger Happy, and right now Drunk Bulge is having a lot of trouble dealing with the amount of damage coming in from Tahariel as well. Neon on the Mei is still going to want to do some work there, moving over to the point Mosin, getting a nice res into Trigger Happy. They're going to be able to turn things around as Blue Slayer misses his charge. That's not what he wants in the situation, and the fight's going to go either way here, as right now Bubble and Blue Slayer is keeping them together a little bit longer, contesting the point right now. It is a 1-2-3 situation on the point. Nano Boost already on Blue Slayer, but he's going to get frozen shortly after. Neon's going to be doing all the damage he can. John Dawson needs to find some picks now as well, and he does, picking up Mosin and Trigger Happy. This is where we see Breaking Amateur moving on to the point very well with the unconventional strategies here.
I was so impressed. We saw John Dawson do the flank. He spotted the Mei. They knew there was a Mei wall. They're like, we don't care about the Mei wall. We're just going to use a Symmetra teleport to get us over the top. And that was absolutely fantastic strategy play. And now they're going to be moving on to second point here, and they've already got a grab, already got a shatter, and they're going to have an EMP as well. But looking on the defense here, they're going to have a shatter, and they're going to have that blizzard up as well. So there's going to be ults of both teams in this next fight.
This is really where the fight's going to be kicking off. Excited to see what they do, because snowballing is so important on Hanamura, and having John Dawson fall over here in the initial poke phase, very dangerous, Spaceman.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't get the snowball there, but I don't think they had time to really snowball. So they just want to build their ults up here, play it a little bit safe until John Dawson get back, until he can get in a position where he's able to use that AMP to great effect. Because if you can combo that with the grab, you can just get a team wipe fairly early on here. And they don't have a Transcendence on the side of the defenders here to be able to deal with that.
EMP does come out, a very cheeky one. What's the follow-up? We do see Dragon Strike picking up count. That's extremely good for the side of Quebec Schnosers. They're just going to be making them back off, and they've just lost their EMP now.
Yeah, using the EMP like that, you really want to combo it with grab. If you can't do that, you've got to be quick and you've got to secure those kills. And Drunken Belgian just sending out that Dragon Strike and getting that early pick on count shut the fight down right there. So they're going to have to do something with Shatter, and they're still going to have a grab coming back, and they're going to have that Nano as well. But Musin, the sort of unsung hero at the moment of the defense here, playing that Mercy, able to use those resurrections to keep your team alive if there is an early pick. It's just so important on the defense.
I do like the Mercy here, but oh my word, Blizzard directly on them. Would you see Soundbarrier coming out just to make sure the team survives? Blue Slayer very far out of position, but keeping himself alive right now. Mercy needs to find a way to stay alive. Neon picks up one. There's Earth Shatter. 3 players fall, and they're going to be picking them up. Make that 4 players being picked up. Self-destruct going up to the top, but the rest of the team's already away from that on the point. We do see 3 players on the point now. Nano Boost has been used on Blue Slayer. Team kill has been announced, but there is going to be a Doomfist coming into the fight under Drunk Belgian. Let's see if he's going to be able to do enough as he tries to take out Blue Slayer, but he's just scared off with the points and taken out in no time. Blue Slayer defending very well against the Earth Shadow, but Sound Barrier from Afroking is going to make it very tough for them to actually turn the team fight around, but they managed to do it so well.
That was...
Schnosers is coming out the top.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play from them there. And did they get the second tick there? I think they might just have done. Oh no, they didn't.
They didn't.
However, there were some really good plays there, right? Neon on that Mei managed to wall off in the top area half of the attacking team. And unfortunately, there just wasn't a lot of follow-up, and you need to follow up so quickly with that. Because what we saw then was we saw the grab coming out, we saw the shatter, we saw the nano, and we saw them take a tick there. But they've got 3 minutes on the clock, so I expect that they're going to be coming back into the action and maybe cooking up something special there. Sorry.
But on the side of the Quebec Schnosers, they're probably smelling exactly what's inside the pot. Just the aroma is in the air, and they're probably ready for it. As we do see Neon is up with another Blizzard. This is going to be very tough, as Tahariel also falls in this fray.
Yeah, and it's all battling out on the top here, and they're having to back off, right? So I think Breaking Amateur have done a very good job so far. I mean, they're making some compositional switches. They're going a bit divey now, perhaps looking to just dive over the walls, get onto the back line. I mean, as soon as they kill the Mercy, Lucio's just not really enough healing, especially with the composition that the Schnauzers are running here. You've got Mei that can heal herself a little bit, but the Doomfist is going to be in the back line somewhere. Once Yariel's demeched as well, it's not going to be super useful. Whereas Tahariel and Count are going to be able to pump out a lot of healing. And John Delson's not going to really need it. They're going to be in the back line. Golden's going to be in the back line, so they're going to be able to keep their dive tanks up. And they're going in now, but they're getting frozen.
Ooh, EMP keeping Neon off of the Blizzard, but we do see the Valkyrie coming up from the side of Racine. And this is very important as Drunk Belgium picks up Tahariel in the back line. We do see that ice block actually doing quite a lot of work to stall it, and a very interesting charge from Trigger Happy. A fight happening in the skies there as Mosine takes out Blue Slayer and ends the fight entirely.
Drunk Belgian, they're doing such a good job on that Doomfist. That's exactly what he needs to do. He's getting to the back line. He killed Tahariel very, very early on that fight. If you lose your Anno, if you lose your main healer, you can't press ahead with that. You can't go 5v6 without your main healer. And if Drunk Belgian keeps up that pressure on Tahariel, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to take that point. So we'll see what he does. I'd like to maybe see Count switch off to a Brigitte here and just try and put some pressure on Drunk Belgian. You know, just stick with your Anna. Try and keep her alive.
Yeah, peeling is definitely not one of the strong suits over on the side of Breaking Amateur right now, and John Dawson taking an interesting position here, scouting out the fight, probably looking to get an early hack onto a troublesome player such as Drunk Belgian. But can they do it? Oh no, it goes on to Neon. I think they're ready for that Blizzard, but they're not able to move in time.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of lack of communication there, and we will see Tahariel switching on to Mercy. Knowing the Doomfist there, at least Mercy you can fly away and stay a little bit safer, but African getting a very early pick on.
Oh, the self-destruct coming out. Oh, doesn't find anything. Neon with a very nice wall and sound barrier coming out from African, keeping them alive a little bit longer. Golden does fall so close to escaping it, but not quite enough. Gravity not on his side as Trigger Happy throws out the Earth Shatter just to end the fight. Very cheeky res, but it's not going to be enough here.
And there's 20 seconds left on the clock. They're probably not going to be able to get back to point. Maybe with a Lucio or a Tracer or something like that, but they're going to be staggered coming back in. Excellent second point hold here from the Schnosers. It's absolutely fantastic. Great use of Blizzards, great use of Mercy there, and there will be a contest here actually. They do manage to make it back in time.
Yeah, very interesting one, but the Blizzard shutting them out completely, and there's a Meteor Strike as well, just to make sure that they cannot touch this. Never give up. I'm just going to have to keep mentioning his name here. He is not one to try and give up at all. But really futile in the situation.
Yeah, and Neon on that Mei, she's such a good stalling area, right? You can chuck out your Blizzards, you can freeze people, you can press shift to put yourself in that ice block. You're going to have to get an absolute team wipe on that second point there. But they did get 65.1%, so we're not going to be seeing a draw here anytime soon. This is all on the attacking side now to take that first point and maybe roll on to second point here.
It's going to be an interesting one. I'm not too sure what the defense is going to be looking like on the side of Breaking Amateur. I don't know. Are they going to be going with the Mei like what we saw, or are they going to go with a more traditional composition? And what is the reaction to that going to be? Is there even going to be a Sombra Scout?
Well, I thought the Sombra Scout was the best piece of play we've seen in this series so far.
Yeah,
it showed real thought. It showed that they practiced. They knew what they were going to do on this map, and I absolutely loved seeing that. But I think you've just got to play comfortable here. Play the heroes that you know you're good at. Play the comps that you know you're good at. Don't try and do something new in this scenario. Do something that you've practiced and you practiced well.
I think that's a very good point, and I think a lot of teams also miss out on that, and they kind of overlook it. They want to play the flavor of the month. They want to play what they see the pros do instead of what they know that they're mechanically strong at and they can work with and improve on that synergy. And I think this is really where it's going to be showing, as you do see Count going onto the Zenyatta compared to what we've seen him on the Lucio quite often. This might be his comfort pick.
Speaking of comfort picks, though, we've got Drunk Belgium back on that Pharah. So, as I said, I absolutely loved seeing him on that. And it's going to be interesting to see if Breaking Amateur can do anything to counter that. I mean, they've got Count, who may be able to counter that with discords and throw a few things up there. But other than that, Never Give Up's going to have to put a lot of pressure on that pharmacy.
Yeah, Drunk Belgian already looking to take out Count. Low maneuverability over on his Zenyatta. If he's able to get the picks early, it's going to be very dangerous. But Neon moving along the balcony here, hoping to find the right picks. Actually dealing with John Dawson in the air, as we do see a bit of an air battle ensue. And there we go, Drunk Belgian picks it up. This is exactly where the fight begins to unfold for the side of Breaking Amateur.
And there we go, Drunk Belgium back on that Pharah, able to just pump the damage in, get some kills, and they're going to win out on this point here. if they manage to steamroll this, they might be able to take this match quite quickly. But look at the ult differential here, right? So no team's really going to have any ults up early in the next fight. If it goes on for a while, they might do. But we've got 50% on the way to Barrage for Drunk Belgian here, versus, look at the ults here on the side of Breaking Amateur. There's, we might have a Shatter next fight. That's about it.
Ooh, it's a dangerous situation for them right now, as we do see moving in John Dawson over onto the Widowmaker, but Neon is giving him a very rough time, picks him up in no time, and Golden was the one that was going to take Drunk Belgian out of the sky, and Drunk Belgian just denies him that pleasure, as moving on to the point now, Count trying his best to take out Yariel, does get the D-Mech, but Drunk Belgian is still doing a ton of work in the sky. Self-destruct does come out, they have to back off. Yariel does fall whilst out of mech, and now backing off. This is where Breaking Amateur can start bringing things back.
Yeah, what a clutch hold there. I mean, this fight's going on for a little bit longer, but the defense with their spawn advantages, they're going to be able to take this here, right? And there wasn't even a tick given up there, so there's 6 minutes left on the clock. However, look at the ults on the side of the Schnosers here. They're going to have the Barrage, they're going to have Sound Barrier here, and they're going to have the Blade. There's no Nano, but they're going to have the Valkyrie as well. So if I was them, I'd just invest everything and try and win this quickly here.
I think that is a way that they could go with it. Let's see if they decide to go for the patient, meticulous play, or if they're going to go completely Havoc wild to just win this as soon as possible. They are 2-0 up in the series right now. This could be match point for them. This is where they could walk away, but John Dawson taking out Afro King, completely taking the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, Afro King falling early in 2 fights now. You can't go in without your... And in the meantime, look at the ultimates now on the side of Breaking Amateur. They've got 3 up already. They're going to have the Nano. They're going to have the Transcendence, which is extremely important for stalling the point here and healing your team up as well. And Golden here is now 50% on the way to a Blizzard, so they're going to be able to rotate some of those from there.
I like seeing more of May coming out in these fights right now, but John Dawson having a lot of trouble with Drunk Belgian. We do see Neon coming in with the Dragon Blade. Self-destruct is over there at the top from Yariel, not quite finding anyone. That ice block's very good from Golden as they do start moving in. Trigger Happy is trying to do the best he can over on the point, but there's the Dead Eye from John Dawson. He's hoping to find something. He doesn't manage to get much other than Drunk Belgian before it, and right now they're still not quite coming out on top. I take that back. Neon doing a ton of work right now, and there we go. Both support ultimates are going to be coming out, keeping the Mercy alive so they can get that res. Neon does fall, but Afro King is still on the point here. Can Uriel do something around? I don't know, because spawn advantage is on the side of Breaking Amateur right now.
Yeah, I mean, Afro King doing a very good job at using his sound barrier to keep Mercy alive, as that Mercy managed to get the res onto Neon. Unfortunately, the self-destruct was there. Neon couldn't quite get out in time, so not a lot of value there, and two support ults expended in the meantime. And now the ults are in favor of Breaking Amateur here. They have the real advantage on the defensive.
Oh, here we go. Blizzard, but not quite hitting the mark. They dive through in time, avoiding the Blizzard completely, but now, oh my word, the Earthshatter from Blue Slayer turning that around, not quite landing the Blizzard, but stopping the fight entirely.
A fantastic shatter there from Blue Slayer. We've been talking about Trigger Happy on the Reinhardt, but Blue Slayer just managing to use one ult to secure the team fight there. They did use Blizzard as well, but Golden should be able to charge that up pretty quickly. And you want to be using the Blizzard either at the start of fights or at the end of fights. Right. And look at the ults here as well. We've got Drunk Belgian with the Barrage. So if he can find a good position to barrage off, get 1 or 2 kills, he might be able to allow his team to push him with a numbers advantage here.
Oh, but we do hear Neon once again coming in with the Dragon Blade, but he gets charged right out of the fight from Blue Slayer. Where has this Ryan play been all night? He's doing so much work at the moment, but right now the rest of the team crumbling apart a little bit. We do see right away Count coming in with Transcendence to try to keep the team alive. Afro King getting damage boosters in this situation. Drunk Belgian is discorded and taking out the fight. Deadeye is going to find something. It doesn't find something as we do see Sound Barrier come out, and that's just another Earth Shadow that's going to do some strong work. Blue Slayer not finding anyone with the charge, but right now Quebec Schnosers are probably going to have to back off of this unless Neon can get a very good pick. Oh, where Drunk Bulge is the one who's going to be finding the pick here, and their self-destruct once again completely nullified. That ice wall doing extremely well, but it's not enough as we do see Quebec Schnosers. There's 4 on the point to 1. John Dawson is going to be coming back. He can't do anything on his own. Blue Slayer comes with the charge, doesn't pick up anyone. He was so close to picking up someone in that charge. Where's the Vortex when you need it? Tahariel switching over to the Mora, a bit more maneuverability, trying to keep the team alive a little bit longer. Count also comes right back in, but then Blizzard on the point. This could be it for Breaking Amateur to bring this back, but they're not able to follow up. The rest of the team hasn't come back yet. Reaper pick onto John Dawson. It's not enough, as we do see Quebec Schnosers take this 3-0 versus Breaking Amateur.
What a last fight there. Wow. I mean, Count showing how important Transcendence is for Zenyatta, especially in that sort of allow Breaking Amateurs to stay alive for a lot longer than they usually would have done. However, I thought the Schnozzers did a very good job of just staying alive there, because we saw some excellent shatter coming out from Blue Slayer, right? And it just wasn't enough follow-up. There wasn't enough target focus. I think if either team can take something from this, it's target focus. If you're able to focus the enemy targets and kill them off one by one, you kill them off a lot quicker than if you're all focusing different targets. And it was, although it was like 3-0, I think the scoreline doesn't reflect how close that actually was. Both teams doing so well.
I have to agree with you there, Spaceman. Really neck and neck, but I think that when the fight was the fight that mattered, Quebec Schnosers were able to really last underneath that pressure. They knew that they were going to be able to come out on top. They breathed enough of the air before going underwater. They had the lung capacity. They were able to really bring it up against Breaking Amateur. And this is the end of Breaking Amateur's win streak. They are now no longer undefeated.
It is, and Quebec Schnozzers may have just taken the top spot off them. So we do know the Schnozzers lost to Unluckers. So Unluckers here may be able to knock Breaking Amateur out of the second spot in future if they win if they win their last game, and Breaking Amateur don't win their last game. Breaking Amateur could fall out of the runnings here, perhaps. So there's everything to play for next week as well, because you're going to be looking at Breaking Amateur, you're going to be looking at Quebec Schnozzers, and you're going to be looking at Unluckers to see who in Group A are able to take those top 2 spots.
I mean, in this situation, moving over to the playoffs, this is exactly what the teams want. And both of these teams are just that little bit closer. Or actually, Quebec Schnauzer are just that little bit closer. Breaking Amateur have had to take a small step back. I am actually very excited to see who we see coming on top of the scoreboard as we move forward with this tournament, because at this point, it's anyone's game at the top.
It is indeed, and that's what I love about it, right? I mean, both of those teams did so well, and I'm sure Unluckers are doing very uh, as well. And there wasn't that much between them. I think on a different day, that result could have gone the other way. It could have been 3-0 in favour of Breaking Amateur here. So it's interesting. And the scores have just been updated. So Quebec Schnozzers here are now at the top. Breaking Amateur a second, and Unluckers a third. So it's so exciting. I can't wait to see the Group A Week 8 matches coming up.
I mean, I'm actually wondering what could go down there. I mean, you're looking at teams that probably have 1 to 2 losses maximum in this situation here. It is going to be neck and neck. This is going to be probably some of the tightest play that you'll see away from the finals or semifinals. So get excited for watching those ones as they come up. I want to just dial it way back here and look at something that we saw here is just on Hanamura there. I actually wrote it down. I just wanted to bring it up. Is I often saw that the attacking team in Breaking Amateur from Quebec Schnosers, when they were trying to move in, they were happy with 1-to-1 fights, losing one player, and then they would still move in 5v6 just because they knew that they had the res at the start of the fight. I think that's a very interesting way of playing there. I don't usually see that. Usually it's one pick goes off, we get the res, we move in as 6, or we back off and we're going to go to the next fight. But they were happy moving 5 or 6, especially if it was their Lucio falling, which we saw quite often.
Yeah, it was at this level. Sometimes you have to take the 5v6, especially if you've got ultimate advantage. If you have a win condition, it doesn't really matter about how many teammates you've got left. If you've got a Grav combo with a Dragon Strike, and you've still got your Hanzo alive, and you still got your Zarya alive, and say you've got one other healer, and it's a 3v6, if you can catch them off and you know they don't have Transcendence, you can still take that fight. But that requires a lot of coordination, a lot of teamwork, and someone to actually make the shot call. Because the problem is, if someone gets picked off early, there is that moment of hesitation where it's, oh, are we engaging? Are we not engaging? You have to be decisive. And I think it was that decisiveness that won out here.
I think that's a very good observation coming into this, especially from teams that are being put together in this method and they're trying to learn from it. I think that's something that everyone who is watching, as well as those who are playing, that can take away from it. You need to be decisive with your calls, and Quebec Schnoser, I think, were just a bit more decisive than Breaking Amateur. And I think that's maybe one of the biggest differentials that we saw from them, especially when we saw exciting swapping of compositions and such. From Breaking Amateur, they weren't able to commit in the end to win the fights off of doing things like that.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't have to make the optimal play. You don't even have to make the right play. But so long as everyone on the team is making the same play,
Mm,
you can still win fights. You know, if you're making what is considered the optimal play or the right play as a team, but then some people aren't doing their jobs right because they're playing the hero in a slightly different way. I
mm,
mean, you see that a lot with goats in lower level SR play, where people don't know what their job is. They know it's a good composition and they know it works, so they run it. But then some people aren't concentrating on what they should be, and then they lose, and they don't know why they're losing. And I think
mm.
the Schnozzers here just did a very, very good job at being decisive. Because if you can go in hard, go in aggressive, you're going to win those team fights more often.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there, Spaceman. Doing so well in these situations. And once again, I have to give it to them for playing under pressure in the way they did. Very high level play from what we saw from them. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap this up, as this has been Jane's Get Good EU round 7 match between Quebec Schnoser and Breaking Amateur. Quebec Schnoser taking it 3-0 versus Breaking Amateur. And this has been me, Cloudburst. Spaceman, take
Signing
it
off.
away and tell me, let's end it off on where the placement of these teams are.
Well, so as we discussed further, Quebec Schnozzers are now in number one place in Group A, followed by Breaking Amateur. Although they are equal on points, it's just the game point differential that separates them here. They've both got 18 points here because you get 3 points for a win, 0 points for a loss. Unluckers is in third with 15 points, but if they're able to win their next game, who knows what could happen?
And that's it, guys. Get excited as Jane's Get Good Tournament EU does continue in the coming days and weeks. But for tonight, thank you so much for watching. This has been Broadcast.GG's production. Have a good one.